the twisted reason as to why, stating, "You may want to go ahead and put me in handcuffs because my wife is dead and she is in the vehicle." Tragically, investigators would quickly
Nobody knew where the kids were. Not one person. Not a grandmother, not a father, not a detective standing in a house that smelled like something had died in it. And for weeks, that's exactly what everyone was too afraid to say out loud. In September of 2019, a mother in Marion County, Florida, called the sheriff's office asking for a welfare check on her daughter. Just a welfare check. That's how these things always start, isn't it? Small, quiet, a phone call nobody thinks twice about. Her daughter's name was Casey Jones, 32 years old, mother of 4, and according to her own mom, something about her had gone silent in a way that didn't make sense. No birthday post for her son, no calls, texts that didn't sound like her at all. The kind of texts where you just know, somewhere in your gut, that the person typing them isn't who they say they are. Here's the thing though, Casey wasn't the only one missing. Her 4 children, ages 1 through 9, hadn't been seen either. And the only person who seemed to know anything was her husband, Michael Jones. A man who, according to nearly everyone who knew him, gave off a feeling people couldn't quite explain. "I never trusted him," one relative would later say. "I didn't know what he was capable of." Nobody did. Not yet. When deputies finally got into the family's trailer, it had been...
When you went into that front bedroom, in the corner, there was blankets, and they were like half stuck to the floor from rotten flesh and so forth.
One of them called it god-awful. Another one said it plainly. It smelled like death. Not garbage. Not mold. Death. And this is the part nobody talks about. How close the truth came to slipping through their fingers before it even started. Because right when investigators thought they had a lead, it fell apart.
I was thinking more about it, and I actually don't recall seeing Casey on Friday, so I only can confirm that I saw Michael's. And for what it's worth, a lot of drama comes along with her, so I would be very surprised if this were not just some sort of
Michael's
stunt.
ex-wife told police she'd seen the whole family together at a McDonald's just one day before they were reported missing. A clean little alibi. Except it wasn't true. Surveillance footage showed the family was never there, not even close. So why lie? Why hand police a story with your own name attached to it?
He did, yes.
When I ask you, why don't you just say it? It's because he told me to say it.
Yeah. So
it seems like you're still not being fully forthcoming with me right now.
I really am trying. I really am. He wrote down a couple notes that he took with him, just like, say you saw me Friday.
Because Michael told her to. I need you to sit with that for a second. A man whose wife and 4 children have vanished asks his ex to lie to detectives on his behalf. And she does it. Not out of malice, out of fear. And maybe out of something more familiar than any of us want to admit. The quiet instinct to protect someone we used to love, even when every part of us senses something's wrong. The lie unraveled fast once detectives pushed on it. And what came out from underneath it was worse than anyone expected. On September 15th, Michael crashed his van across the state line in Georgia. Officers who responded noticed the smell immediately. The same smell from the trailer, now sealed inside a vehicle he'd been driving for weeks. And instead of running, instead of denying it, Michael said something no officer forgets. He told them to go ahead and put him in handcuffs. His wife was dead. She was in the vehicle. They found her exactly where he said she'd be. Now here's where it gets interesting. In the worst possible way. Because for a moment, it looked like this was a story about one death, one argument that went too far.
I just kept telling her, leave, just need to leave. So we have, a recliner in the trailer, and she, grabbed behind it, had a bat, and I grabbed it from her and pushed her, and she punched and hit me as I started swinging with the bat. So that's what killed her.
Michael told investigators Casey had confronted him that night, that things escalated, that he grabbed a bat from her during a struggle and used it. That's what killed her, he admitted, in the trailer, while their 4 children slept just feet away. He wrapped her body in plastic, kept her in their bedroom, told the kids their mother was taking a break whenever they asked where she'd gone.
After learning what she believed was impossible.
So I assume he was driving around my boys in his van with, a dead body. When I found out on Monday that they'd found Casey's body, I had to leave work, and my deepest prayer was that he hadn't hurt those kids.
And then he kept driving, kept living, kept texting his ex-wife that Casey was probably somewhere laughing at everyone, hiding out, being dramatic like always. Except Casey wasn't hiding anywhere. I want to slow down here, because this next part is the reason this case will stay with anyone who hears it. Detectives already had a confession to one murder.
All right, nobody knows where your kids are. Something happened with them. Now's the time. You've been carrying this for a while, but we got to know I need to know where his kids are.
They thought that was the worst of it. It wasn't close. Less than a month after Casey's death, Michael's attention turned to her 4 children. 9-year-old Cameron, 4-year-old Preston, 2-year-old Merkelly, 1-year-old Ayanna. Kids who had nothing to do with whatever had gone wrong between 2 adults. Kids who trusted him. He strangled Cameron in his bed while his little brother slept in the next room, unaware. The next night, he did the same to Preston, just days before the boy's 5th birthday. Then, weeks later, he drowned Merkelly in the bathtub. And right after her, he did the same to Ayanna. His own daughters, one after another in the same night. Actually, let me say that again, because it deserves to be said plainly. This wasn't a moment of rage that spiraled out of control. This happened over weeks, deliberately, one child at a time. And through all of it, Michael kept showing up in people's lives like nothing had happened. He hugged the children's father, apologized for things that were never his to apologize for, smiled, asked to see the kids more.
He was like, but I want you to see your children more. I want you to do this and that. And so I'm thinking, man, this is great. I'm thinking something, at least he's normal or halfway is normal, and we even hugged. He shook my hand. It's almost like that was his apology for everything that he had done. And here I was, I took it hook, line, and sinker, because I'm a forgiving.
Their bodies were already gone. He drove them across state lines himself and eventually led investigators back to the wooded area where he'd left them. You already sense where this ends. Michael was convicted on all counts, sentenced to death for the murders of the 4 children, life without parole for Casey's murder. His defense tried to argue delusion, claimed he heard Casey's voice after her death promising the family would be reunited. The jury didn't buy it. His appeal was denied in 2025. He's on death row right now, today, while you're watching this. And I keep coming back to one detail nobody can explain. He hid every single one of those children's bodies, but he left Casey's right where she'd be found. When investigators asked him why, he told them he didn't know. Maybe that's the most honest thing he ever said. So I'll ask you the same question.
A little bit of both of what you just said. There was an aspect of them being part of their mother, and I didn't know what to do as far as I just could not open my mouth. I couldn't make that.
Was it fear? Was it something colder than that? Tell me what you think really happened inside that house, because I don't think we've heard the last of this case.